Welcome back, folks. The Global Outlook is sponsored by Maury's newsletter, Global Outlook. To get a complimentary copy, log on to our website, theworldreport.org. Vladimir Putin is paving the way for ISIS gains in Syria as America sends a couple dozen advisors. George Soros says borders are obstacles, and Germany finds itself somewhere between complete anarchy and civil war, says Hansjoerg Mueller of the Alternative Party for Germany. Let's start with that, Maury. Being from German descent, being born in Germany, I used to have a lot of respect for Angela Merkel. I thought she was one of the strongest leaders in the world. She was doing a great job. I got to tell you, in these past couple of months, I've lost all respect for her. What's going on there?
Well, first of all, she was brought up in East Germany, which was the German Democratic Republic, which was a communist satellite.
Soviets, yeah.
I'm not saying that influence was paramount, but she is a person that has strong human feelings. I think part of it, she was kidding herself by thinking these were relatively young people. They desperately needed workers. They were short of workers. But the economic impact of this group is going to be counterproductive because they are of a basic religious, cultural belief that is not going to add anything to Germany. If anything, it's going to undercut Germany.
It already started. You've got these migrants putting into camps. They're littering. They're demanding that Germany print things in Arabic. They're already trying to force Sharia on a bunch of the communities that they're in, and this hasn't even been 3 months yet.
This will be a major disaster. This will be the second or third German disaster that they faced even after Hitler was committed suicide.
Do you believe that there is still that guilt that goes back to World War II?
No question about it.
When does it stop?
Well, no.
It's almost like the guilt that the Democrats keep pushing on us from slavery from 300 years ago.
First of all, there's two ways of looking at it. They deserve to be guilty, and they'll never lose that stigma. It's ironic when I see what's happening with the Volkswagen, which was produced by the command of Adolf Hitler. He was the
father of the Volkswagen.
As he was with the Autobahn. So that he could fight a two-front war. But the point
So it's interesting that the Autobahn eventually ended up helping the people and was one of the best technological advancements Germany ever had.
Yes.
But it had nothing to do with that.
Well, wait a second. So you could say that the Volkswagen gave the average German a car which they never had either. It was the little oversized baby buggy.
Economical.
It hasn't even changed since then. It looks exactly like it. And of course, they have now had their own problems as far as phoning up CO2,
and
methane, and which they shouldn't have had to do in the first place. But anyway, that's beside the point.
Yeah.
The point you asked me about Angela Merkel, I think she has a
soft spot.
I think it's soft spot. I think she kidded herself in thinking that somehow this could be a commercial benefit, like the Turks. After the end of the Second War, Germany had lost 5 million soldiers during the war, and they were trying to pull themselves up by their bootstraps. They were getting the Marshall Plan. They didn't have enough men to man the factories.
To run the country.
So they imported 2 million Turks. Now, the Turks were a different breed of cat. They were not Arabs. They were people that really wanted to work and produce for their families and did a very good job. And they were quiet, and they melded into the populace. We don't know how many ISIS people are in these refugees.
Well, that's an excellent point you make, because ISIS said 8 months ago that was their plan. If we know that, she has to certainly know this. They were planning on doing this.
Yeah, but you see, you get into the psychology, you put your finger on something. First of all, they don't want to do anything that makes them look like they're being culturally
racist.
Racist, that's right. Culturally superior. Here we go again type of thing.
Now it's not the Jews, it's the Muslims.
Yeah. I think in this case they may be right. But anyway, Germany, yes.
But the Jews never set out to destroy Germany.
The Jews were the most creative part of the German population.
Right. They never said that they wanted to eliminate Germany or any other nation or any other people.
But you see, that gets lost in the dustbin of history. So they feel, well, we're going to show that we're nice people. We're going to open our doors. But I'm telling you, she thought that somehow this would also be like the Turks coming into Germany at the end of the Second War.
Again, I have to say I've lost a lot of respect for her.
Well, of course you have. So have I, because it was stupid. I mean, you know, there are certain countries like Hungary, which is now under a pseudo-fascist regime. They won't let anybody in there, and those that are in there, they're told to get out. They're smart.
And Bavaria is going to send them to the chancellor's door. They said, we can only take 1,800. If any of them, more of them come, we're going to put them on a train and send them to your door.
Yeah, well,
and they should.
The whole thing, Europe is in a bad uproar. Europe was already in a bad uproar before this happened because they can't pull themselves out of their downward
economical
dive.
doldrums.
Well, they try to become a sociologically, shall we say, advantaged country. So they did. Greece is only the worst example. Every European country has some of that. The idea of business driving the country, that's gone at all. And so Germany was the only country in Europe that had a business attitude, even though they were forced to have labor people on their board. But the point, even the labor people in Germany, who were good Germans, wanted to see the country thrive. And Germany has been, over the years, starting with the mid-century of the last century, 1915 and so on, Germany became one of the 4 most productive industrial commercial countries in the world.
This is going to have such a negative effect on them. I don't even think that they have any idea what's going to happen in the next 2 or 3 generations.
I will not disagree with you on that. I think.
And George Soros, the founder of the Open Border Society, who does not want any borders anywhere, is behind this.
George Soros, Hungarian Jew, whose name was Schwartz, fingered all the rich Jews in Budapest, turned them over to the local Nazis.
And said it was the greatest moment of his life.
This man is an evil man, and he's continuing to project his evil.
And he's one that's behind this entire movement of migrating out of Africa into Europe. And they didn't stop in Saudi Arabia. They didn't stop in Jordan. They went right to Germany and France.
Excellent point. There's plenty of room in the Middle East for these people. But
as a matter of fact, Saudi Arabia has tents for their little get-together every year. They've got thousands and thousands and thousands of tents they could have put these people up in.
It's a huge peninsula. It's a wide open. You know how many people are in Saudi Arabia? 28, 29 million. They're empty. They could take all these refugees easily, but they don't want them
because they're smart enough to know.
Well, they're smart enough to know that there's ISIS in there. They're basically Sunnis. There's a lot of Shiites. You know, you've got all these retrograde type of cultures, and Syria is you know, they already killed 250,000 people in the civil war in Syria in the last 5 years. And I have a dear friend of mine who's an attorney from there, a Muslim, but not a practicing one, has a large firm in Damascus, and last time he was there, he was lucky to get out.
I have a question for you. These are the kinds of events that pave the way for a person like Hitler to come in and take over.
Yeah.
And say, I'm going to put my, kind of like what Trump's doing with immigration and our trade deals. And I mean, he's being very firm. This is what happens. Do you see civil war or total anarchy coming to Germany?
No, you'll never have a civil war. The German people, and I can...
Do you see a total pendulum swing back to a Nazi-type national socialist, or
No.
at least a national type of party?
No, I think you
put
will,
their foot down against this immigration?
First of all, you need, ironically, Germany does not... There were some neo-Nazis after the war. You know, all those guys kind of gone. Germany today does not have that element of people, but I think they wish they had.
And doesn't this kind of lead to the breeding of groups like that?
Well, because the Germans are highly disciplined and demanding for a better life. So I think, yes, I think if there's going to be a mandatory government of that nature, Germany would be the normal place to have it.
So you would think that Berlin or Frankfurt is going to turn, I mean, it's going to turn into London and Paris the way that these people have come in and basically taken over. I mean, on a Friday during prayers, you can't walk down some streets in London.
Not only that, even the Catholics look at Cologne, as a great cathedral in Cologne. they allowed a mosque to be built that's higher than the Cologne Cathedral. And you're right. I think Merkel has now gone from being highly respected to being greatly reviled by the Germans, who still feel pride in their German background.
And in the German government, how do you remove someone? And every government is different.
Well, it's a parliamentary government. You'd have to. The Christian Democrats are not the majority party, but they have enough votes with the centrist party that goes along with them that she's safe right now. They'd have to have elections, and there is even the German national. They had a national party which was sort of a very mild form of Nazism, but not any physical danger to anybody. Just a lot of mouthing of the old slogans, and they're gone.
How close is Germany to total anarchy right now?
No, Germany not. They're the last country in the world that would be in a state of anarchy. Their institutions are too strong. Germany has, ever since they were united in 1871, and after they beat the French in a 60-week war, and they used the Palace of Versailles to put together the modern Germany. You got to understand the Germans are very much disciplined and very much waiting to take orders from somebody of strength.
And I know you have a sweet spot for your homeland. I fear the worst is going to be happening for Germany.
Won't happen in Germany.
We need to take a brief time out. Our Homeland Security, Political Insider, and The Moment in History are straight ahead. If you'd like to watch the show in its entirety or catch any of our segments, it's simple. It's free. Just go to theworldreport.org. Remember to like us, recommend us, leave comments, share with your family and friends. Our quote of the day: there is a plot in this country to enslave every man, woman, and child. Before I leave this high and noble office, I intend to expose this plot. Do you have any idea who said that?
No, I have not.
John Fitzgerald Kennedy. There are no more JFK Democrats.